Well, welcome back to our third session of the Cycle of Grace, and it's a real privilege to be able to share this session with the co-author of Cycle of Grace, Jerry Haas. If I can just remind you, we are looking at the Cycle of Grace. So far we've looked at the first two components, the components of input, acceptance and sustenance. Now we move to the output dimension of the Cycle of Grace, and the word that Dr. Lake uses here is the interesting word significance, which I'd like to explore with you and together with Jerry today.
Trevor, I'm fascinated with the word significance as part of the Cycle of Grace, because it seems to me like before we can ask the question, what did Jesus do? We need to first take a moment and ask the question, what did his life signify? I think that's a very important reminder for us as leaders. We sometimes focus so much on producing results. We think about where we end up, and instead we need to first begin to think about what is it that our life reflects? What did Jesus' life reflect? It seems to me that Jesus never forgot that his life was a sign. It was a sign of God. He was the sign that shone forth, and that's what our lives are to be also. So we hear that especially in the Gospel of John, when he talks about whoever has seen me has seen Abba, the Father. So I think as Christian leaders, we began this whole practice and the whole recognition of how grace moves through us by first reflecting on how our lives are to be a sign. We are to signify God's love in the world.
Yes, Jerry, and we also see this place of significance in Jesus' life also in his I am sayings, when he speaks of I am the bread of life, I am the resurrection and the life, I am the light of the world. That Jesus seemed to live with a very deep sense of who he was, and that this was a very important dimension of his ministry to others. And I think that in our lives as well, Jerry, I think we have a deep need, and I really do believe it's a God-given need for significance. We want our life to signify something. And if we can find perhaps words to describe our own unique significance, our own unique way of giving and receiving love, I think it deepens our ministry to others. I did a course the other day with a group of people, and we were focusing on this area of significance. And I asked people to find a few words to describe their unique way of being in the world. And people came up with some wonderful descriptions. One person said he wanted to be, throughout his life, a brother. That is how he wanted to live. Someone else used the words, he wanted to be a conversational partner. There was a woman in the group who said she wanted her life to signify the revealer of goodness in all created things. When I think about my own life and what I would like my life to signify and what words I would use to describe, I hope, my unique way of being in the world, it would be to be a companion and a friend with others. So for me, the genius of the Cycle of Grace is that ministry is not only what we do. Ministry in the Christian life is also who we are. And that perhaps when we're gone, people are not going to remember so much what we did. They're going to remember the kind of person we are.
I think that's really true. It also seems to me that this is all grace. I think that's really important for us to keep in mind too. This is God's grace flowing through us. Our lives are a gift, and our own individual lives, and this is what I hear you saying, the way that we are is a gift to the world, and we have a unique gift that we offer. And that's part of what life is about, is to discover what that is, that unique gift that God has to give as it flows through us. This is who I am. So, thank you.
I remember a person who had a legend and said that God sends each person into this world with a song to sing, with a special message to deliver with a special way of being in the world. And I think part of ministry is discovering that special way of being in the world.
This is what it means to have a life of living in the cycle of grace.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you.
This concludes our chapter on significance, and you can learn more about the essence of Christ in the book Cycle of Grace. In our next session, we'll examine the outflow of fruitfulness in the ministry of Jesus.